Run your live. Run your mute.
Sorry. Good evening, everyone. I welcome you all at National Digital Transformation Conclave. So here we are for the last session for today's conclave. Panel discussion 5, State e-governance mission team accelerating digital transformation. Our esteemed moderator, Fahim, co-founder and director Alliance GovConnect. Welcome, Fahim.
Thanks, Ron.
I also welcome Sohan Nautiyal, Head State e-governance mission team, Department of Electronics and IT, Odisha. Munish, Chandan, Head State e-governance mission team, Department of Electronics and IT, Haryana. He will be joining us shortly. Sanjay, Gaden, State e-governance mission team, Department of Science and Technology, Gujarat. Dr. Abhishek Roy, Head State e-governance mission team, Department of Personal and Administrative Reforms, West Bengal. He is also joining us shortly. Mr. Sunil Kalra, Head State e-governance mission team, Department of IT, Bihar. Mr. Henry, Head State e-governance mission team, Department of Information Technology, Manipur. And Manpreet Singh, Head Governance Reform and Monitoring Cells, Office of Chief Minister, Punjab, and State e-governance mission, Team Punjab. I welcome you all.
Thank you, Fran. So I think so.
Yeah, you can take it forward.
Sure. So I think so. It's like I've been given the privilege to moderate one of a very interesting panel discussion where we talk about SEMT accelerating the digital transformation. So and we have got almost around 7 states SEMT heads representing this panel discussion, which is actually very diverse, and because each state has got the different challenges. Each states have done it's like various adoption in terms of the technology in terms of public service delivery. So with this, I think so I'll start with a quick 2 minutes introduction of each of the panelists. So I would like to invite Mr. Sunil Kalra. Sir, if you can just give a 2 minutes introduction about you and about your department, what all you're doing. So over to you, Mr. Sunil.
Yeah, thank you, Fahim. Thanks a lot to you and your organization, GovConnect, to invite me on this forum. I'm Sunil Kalra. I'm Head-SeMT. I've been here as Head-SeMT for over 6 years, and I have actually gone through the complete cycle. In fact, 2 cycles of complete project, where normally in government we have a project cycle of 5 years. So I would say that I've seen phase 1 and phase 2. So that way, I've been privileged and honored to be part of this SEMT team, be part of the growth of India as well. So that's a brief about myself.
Thank you, sir. I'd like to come to Henry. Henry, if you can just give us 2 minute two minute about yourself and your department, basically. Henry, you're mute.
I hope you can hear me now.
Yeah, perfect.
I'm here, Henry. I am representing the head of the state e-mission team of Manipur. I am part of this e-mission team for the last 1.5 years. Actually, when the COVID started, I started as a journey to the e-mission team. That I have a career about 19 years in the public sector before I moved to the e-mission team of the state. I already have the experience about the various projects that handle in the public sector level. Then finally, I moved to the state for the implementing the e-mission team.
Thank you, Henry. Manpreet, if you can start with the 2 minutes introduction.
Good evening and good evening, Fahim. Good evening.
Just a second, Manpreet. Sanjay, if you can mute your this thing. Sanjay, if you can mute your. Thank you, sir. Yes, Manpreet.
Yep. Good evening, everybody. Thank you, GovConnect team, for inviting us on this wonderful forum on e-governance and digital transformation. And obviously, SEMT has been one of the greatest pillars of e-governance across the country in all the states for e-governance. I was the first one to join ACMT 2010 December, the first batch I won, and it's been a complete transformation in the last 10 years professionally. When we started with Punjab ACMT team, even the Department of IT had only 3 to 5 people. So we started the whole journey of transformation, starting with we never had any core infrastructure, public service delivery, online. We started, so as Mr. Kalra said, we had in fact I have seen 3 rounds of e-governance and the whole e-governance journey. Personally, I was in US before joining the ECMT team, and there's been a great transformation for me personally. For 5 years, e-governance, I was picked up by Chief Secretary Office. I managed the whole Chief Secretary Office, the whole state, when Mr. Sarvesh was the last Chief Secretary of Punjab. So for the last 2 years, I'm heading the governance reforms and monitoring, which takes care of the whole monitoring part, not only governance, but other KPIs related to schemes, projects. So I manage the monitoring part. Then I head the governance process reforms cell within Punjab government. So any BPR happens, it happens through me. I lead all the BPR initiatives of the Punjab government, and then the downstream IT enablement. We have a huge inbuilt team within Punjab government, and also vendors for all the IT and automation part. So it's been a great transformational journey for me professionally, personally, and for state government. It's been a wonderful last 10 years with the CMT.
And thank you, Manpreet. Sanjay sir, if you can just give a small introduction. Sanjay sir, can you hear us? I think so. Some network issue with Sanjay sir. So I will come back to Sanjay sir. So we'll go to Mr. Sohan Nautiyal sir. So Sohan Nautiyal ji, if you can.
Okay. Thank you, Fahim and Farhan. Good evening, everyone. This is Sohan Nautiyal, Head-SeMT Odisha. So I'm associated with ENIT Odisha and Directorate of Technology Odisha Computer Application at Bhubaneswar. And it is almost 2 years old. So I am coming with typical, coming from the corporate background. And that is from, I used to work with HCL, Infosys, and Accenture. It's good experience working with the government project, and it's give me immense pleasure to be part of the virtual conference digital transformation GoConnect, and I'm able to in the panel I'm some of my colleagues from different state. So as part of SCMT and as part of this journey, typically the role and responsibility which myself and my team are involved in providing technical consultant and solution and implementation of e-governance, e-gov projects across the state. And I come with digital background, digital technology, and we have developed and provided solution and some of the key projects which I will go in detail in subsequently, which covers cloud computing, AI, and blockchain technology, and some of the infrastructure related IoT. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sohan. So I think so. It was a very brief introductions by each of you, and while the rest of the other panelists join, so I'll just put in the first question to Mr. Sunil Kalra. So Sunilji, if we have seen till last year before last year, so the digital transformation was in a different mode, right? So then the pandemic hit us, the COVID, basically the COVID came in. So what are the various? So basically, I just want to say, please share your thoughts on digital transformation that has happened during the COVID era. So I just not before that. So during the COVID era, because things completely changed, right?
Yes.
So everyone, it's a smooth flow was going on, but that got disrupted, right? Then due to this COVID, and also I just wanted to understand, how the digital transformation that which has happened during the COVID era, how your department handle it, and what are the new things which evolved around it.
Yes, very true. Like you said, COVID has actually completely changed the way world looks at IT and the way world has been working. I would say, yes, COVID itself is a very unfortunate thing which has happened to the world and to humanity. But in terms of IT, it has been a boon. Really, I'm not mincing any words. As soon as COVID happened, the initial response was, okay, we'll have a lockdown for about 21 days, and things will, everything will fall in place, and everything will be in line. And it has taken almost like maybe 8 to 10 months to people to understand, no, this is not going away, and it is going to be here, and this is the way of life, and we have to live with it. There was time then when everyone was saying that COVID ko harana hai, now it is COVID ke saath jeena hai. So that phrase has changed over those 8 to 10 months. And this Gina has phrase actually has come synonymous with the way IT has helped things work. So yes, it was a very good thing. We can say that something which the government does is that they believed in having physical meetings. Everything changed. Now they understand that those physical meetings were actually a waste of time and money. So, uh, so in that way, I'm not talking about just applications and all. This complete COVID thing has brought in a paradigm change in the way the government used to work. So they have realized that yes, virtual meetings and virtual conferences, everything is a way of life. Like now we are having a virtual conference right now. And those physical files have now slowly, they have started adopting e-office kind of thing, wherein which was initially was not even acceptable to them. When a bureaucrat works, the way they write on file and they get the pleasure to throw the file on the ground or into some bucket. So that pleasure has gone, but yes, they have adopted it and they have realized that this is the way of life now. Okay, next was the way. Next question is how we were prepared. Luckily, Bihar was very well placed in terms of giving all these facilities to the state government. We had our Bihar Swan in place, and it was actually we never realized that we will not be able to cope up with the pressure. So we immediately moved on to our Swan, and it was able to take all the load of all the virtual meetings and conferences and broadcasts, whatever the Honorable CM wanted to do. So that way we were lucky. And another very important thing is the finances for a state to able to run. So that way, when I'm saying we are lucky that even though this pandemic was not planned, but somehow we had made our CFMS, the Comprehensive Finance Management System, which went live just before the pandemic. If you remember, pandemic started somewhere in March and March 24th or something, and we had actually we had planned to go live on our CFS from 1st of April, and we were already in the pilot phase. And we were also lucky that when we moved from pilot to actual CFMS as on 1st of April, everything went smooth. Yes, there would be some hiccups, but yes. So when people realize that the complete treasury and everything, how easy it is to do these things through CFMS kind of application, that is a complete ERP wherein all the treasuries were incorporated, and in some places even all the salaries and everything was inbuilt and made in an electronic medium. So what made them happy was they were getting their salaries in time. Otherwise, what would have happened was someone would have to come to the office and then do some signatures on the file, on a physical file, which at that time people were not even ready to get out of their homes. And if you remember, it was like everyone was so scared that if you get out of the house, you probably will just fall dead. So that way, they realize that things are going smoothly. They are getting their salaries and they are able to make payments to some vendors, because vendors also stop working in an emergency situation if they don't get their payments. Obviously, they need their payments in time and everything. So those things have actually helped Bihar and also helped us to sell this idea that e-governance and this electronic mode is the way to go forward. So I will not go into that. We started e-office or we were using that. And that's a very typical thing. Yes, every state has done that. And now if we look at that electronic governance kind of thing, now they are asking that how can we incorporate, let's say, AI and ML and all those things. So instead of we going and selling them that you should adopt these kind of technologies, the new technologies, now the government is saying yes, we want them, and probably the state or probably the technocrats are not ready in that way. I'm not saying that technical way we are not ready, but our applications are not designed in that way wherein we can have some meaningful data. But yes, we are working on that. So the next step is now they have realized that if they had better designed applications, then they could have gone into this newer technologies. Adoption would have been easier. So, if we talk of something which has happened in the recent past 1 week, we have just got an order that all our services should go on a unified service portal instead of every department delivering services to the citizen in a separate portal. So this actually has happened just day before yesterday. Order has come to us that we go in for a new portal, which will be more transparent, which will be more, you can say, adaptive and more user friendly and more citizen centric, in which people can actually have their login IDs and they can do their self service kind of thing instead of they going to any physical location or any booth or counter and getting their services done. So yes, it has been a big change. Pandemic has been a boon in terms of IT adoption. Uh, these are my some thoughts. Yeah, back
Sure.
to you.
And thank you, Mr. Kalra. It was very well placed thoughts, basically, and the way you talked about this one and the CFMS thing. So there was a recent story where an HR was, it's like she was COVID positive. She was in hospital and she was signing all these salaries. So I wish they would have also adopted CFMS like your department. So it wouldn't have been it's like that hectic for her, right? So I'll come to Mr. Henry. So, Mr. Henry, if you can talk about the digital transformation that has happened during the COVID era in your state and how you basically, what are the new technologies or what innovations you have done. So, over to you, Mr. Henry. You're mute. You're mute. You're mute.
I would like to put in forward in the two phases. When the COVID comes in, the people started developing a lot of applications to interact with the citizen, because earlier the mode of communications or providing the service was predominantly coming to the office and providing the service, sometime using the common service center. So when I joined around the March, the COVID also just initiated or just started. The first thing that the state of Manipur has done is just to bring the people from outside, staying in the various state and the different parts of the country, as well as located in the international places. So the challenge was to develop an applications and to provide a delivery channels with these people. So the need was to develop an on-demand applications and just try to prioritize the movements of the people. That was the first thing that I experienced when the COVID comes in, because when everyone panicked, the first thing the government decided is about how do I help my citizen in the most efficient and in the better way. So that was the first incident that happened when I joined it, and everyone was involving at the same time. And then at the same time, the people who are leading on the top realize that without infrastructure we cannot do this, because we are not aware what is the situation all about. So when when this happened, in lockdown happened, then a lot of problem comes in, because a lot of peoples are daily earning peoples, they cannot survive, and they have a lot of economical challenges. And then the government realized that what is the best way I can connect, because especially in the hilly areas, it is very difficult to connect to the people, to even to explain the various scheme available with the state or provided by the state. So the first thing that we realize is that infrastructure is ready for us or not. So when we talk about infrastructure, it is very important because when a country or any place need to develop, you need to have a road and the transport to be in place. Like in the digital era, we need to have the connectivities. So we realized that we are having around 400 to 500 towers spread across the state. It was not sufficient. So under the guidance of the Chief Secretary IT, we try to push to double almost by 1,000 to increase into 1,000. And we talk with the various ISP and try to push that the connectivity has to be there, because when we do digital transformation in terms of the payment, it's very important that every gram panchayat up to the block level should have the connectivity with the 4G and the 3G minimum. And then we also realize that is if anything has to be done, and then we are asking the people to know to come out, and we need to have a banking system at the back end. So we have the connectivity we are building still now. And then we more focus about providing the business connectivity using the BCs and CSCs, and even tie up with the various service provider like Airtel to provide the bank, and then focus about the banking using the postal systems. So when this connectivity is there, then we also realize that when we need to develop an application on demand, because there are a lot of application comes up from each of the departments to deploy, it's not possible with the ways we does it. So then parallelly, we also started the developing the state data center in terms of hyperconverged infrastructure. I'm not sure about this because I was handling the hyperconverged infrastructure around 2 years ago. This kind of scalable private cloud infrastructure in the state is maybe one of the few in India. I can just proudly say that the Manipur has almost in the verge of implementation now. We are everything in place, and we started deploying some application now where we use the latest technology about scaling out your application at any time. And the beauty about it is that it can scale your storage, you can scale your networking, the speed, and all the computing resources. You don't need to worry about it. You can just plug in. It's just like a mini Amazon where you can plug in. So now for National Health Mission also, we need a lot of resources. We are just trying to scale it out because of this kind of structure that we are developed. So we done the parallel about the infrastructures, and then the greatest the achievement that the state of Manipur has done in this pandemic age is that the government has to function. The first thing is that we have to function before we give the services. So here I just want to point out one line. When we travel in the flight, in initial stages, there is one message is that is you put your mask yourself first before you help the others. So the government has to function first. So how do the government function? Is in the movement of the file is the biggest challenges that we always sees about it. That other SMT had also said about the beauty about the file is about the bureaucrat signing and throwing out the paper. So the movement of the file electronically is the challenges. So we implemented e-office on the cloud. That helped itself the functioning of the government when even the bureaucrat who is supposed to sign the paper is not well or not able to come to the office. The government function at all. So that is the beauty about that. And the one thing that I really appreciate about is the state government also thinks about the elders, like in a pension where you need to go to the people has to come physically to prove that they are alive in once in 6 months. And during this pandemic, it's not possible, or people scare, but they need the money, but they're scared to come out. Then it launched the e-pension scheme, applying the clouds architectures, scalables, providing the mobile access. And then from the sitting at home, I just want to experience that. The beauty about this technology is that sitting at my home using my phone, I just take the photograph of my mother for her pension. Then then it just says about it when you just take a picture that you need to smile. Then my mom said, "Why we need to smile?" Then I said, "My mom, that they are going to see that you are alive and they are just interacting with you in the face-to-face using this mobile." And then they ask us to put the one news, so that just to see that current date, and then using the AI system on the back end, then it analyze and give a hints to the officer that is alive, and then it get approved in the next day. Then subsequently she got the pension and this doesn't have to travel. So that is a beauty about the technology mixing, and it's not about only technology, but about the people who are adapting to the change when the demands comes in. And some of the stuff that driving too much because of the pandemic here is, I just want to highlight that e-stamping is like where we are trying to make it everything that you can pay the stamp duty or stamp payment online. And then we are also doing about the national land record using a lot of new technology in order to develop the application very fast. And one thing that is on the list, which is we are trying to focus is about the artificial intelligence based CM dashboard. So we have already initiated because all the KPI that we talked about, the delivering a service to the people, although you apply any technology or not, but the real important thing is whether the citizens have received or are getting the services that have been provided by the government. So in order to monitor all these things, we are developing an AI-based the CM dashboard. That is the things that we are trying to push it. So we are predominantly focusing about infrastructures. They're trying to push it, and various departments are developing an application, and we just want to cater the service to all this requirement. That's what we are just trying to adapt technologically to this pandemic situation.
Thank you, Henry. Actually, there's a lot happening in your state. From, if you talk about from infrastructure to connectivity to the VCs, you talk about infrastructure scaling up. Then you talk about the most it's like, I think so the best part was to listen about the e-pension thing, where you sit at your home on your mobile, and elders can, it's like they can just go live from the mobile, and then it's like the pension gets credited the very next day. So really interesting things which are happening in such a small state, if I say. And if I talk about the connectivity, I also belong to a hill station, Darjeeling, so I can understand that portion of yours, right? Thank you, Henry. So I'd like to come to Mr. Sohan Lal. So Sohan sir, if you can talk about the digital transformation that has happened during this COVID.
Sure. Thank you. So morning, our Honorable IT Minister Tushar sir, then IT Secretary sir, and the JGM Tripathi, they were in different conference, highlighted the various initiatives taken at state as part of the digital transformation. Okay, so I would like to highlight some of the key things during the pandemic, which we have, which has helped government as well. That is, Odisha One is a single window, unified platform where a citizen can avail all the services which is provided by different department across, be it be either it could be from education or energy or health. For example, suppose if citizen wants to pay the bill, they can just log into Odisha One portal and pay the bill. Use the payment gateway as well. Okay, so similarly for providing getting the services for the students, they can get the marks card or the certificate from this application. So that's this launch of this website was very helpful because and during pandemic. So we have seen that around more than 100K registration has been done during this period. Okay, so that's one of the key thing. I would like to highlight that during pandemic, and which is part of the digital transformation, where a citizen cannot go to the department to avail the service, but through online they can avail that service. And coming to if we at a rural area where they don't have proper service, internet service, or they cannot use some of these laptop, or they can just walk into Bahut Seva Kendra, okay, and which can provide all the services which government is providing. So that's how and already we have created around more than 3,000 kendras across in Odisha, so that people can just go and avail the service. So that's one of the thing. And apart from that, this can be used by anywhere, anytime, and any device from the mobile. They can connect and avail the services. So that's the thing. And the other thing, during the pandemic, so as soon as the pandemic happened, within a week, since there were movement of people coming from different countries to Odisha, or from different, outside Odisha. So we had immediately developed a registration portal which is scalable, and currently we are that is catering to a lot of other functionalities related with the COVID. We are able to contact the tracing or the suspect, or any risk carriers, and GI-based infrastructure mapping, and so on and so forth. So I would like to highlight here that the application was developed during this period, which has helped in providing the details about the COVID. About the COVID. So apart from that, we had even developed a COVID dashboard that enables decision makers to monitor the performance of various COVID-related intervention and across Odisha, and what is the plan ahead. So, and apart from that, recently we have also ensured that this provides the certification of vaccination, as well as the availability of vaccination across the state. Okay, and so these are the key things which we had done during the COVID period. Apart from the various other, we are providing support to the department for different for different projects. Okay, so this is the key thing I thought I will highlight. And apart from that, how exactly government was functioning during this time, and we had provided the VPN connectivity, because already we had the well-versed this automation office automation system at state, and only the thing we had provided the VPN connectivity, so that there is a smooth functioning of that. And apart from that, then VPN connectivity, so, and VC setup was done across this one network, so that our honorable CM could have communication across the district, and have meetings with them during the pandemic. Okay, so that's and thank you.
Thank you, son. Odisha is actually riding the digital transformation wave with the under the leadership of Shri Tushar Kanti Behra sir and Manoj Kumar Mishra sir. And you're very well like about the Odisha one, it's like the portal. Then Mo Sarkar is very, it's like another interesting this thing portal, right? Then you talked about it's like around 100,000 registrations which happened during this COVID period. And the Seva Kendra, suppose if anyone has low bandwidth in the connectivity in the villages and all, they can go to any Seva Kendra and obtain all the facilities from there. Plus the COVID portal and the COVID dashboard is really interesting thing, and the VPN connectivity on SWAN. So it's like really interesting things which your state is doing in terms of the digital transformation, in terms of reaching out to the last mile, if I say, right? So with this, I'd like to come to Manpreet. So Manpreet, if you can just focus on like how, like what are the digital transformation that has happened during the COVID period in the state of Punjab? You're mute, Manpreet.
Okay. Sunil ji, Henry ji, Sohan ji has spoken wonderfully on actually on ground. Everybody spoke on actually what happened on ground during the COVID times, and I second whatever they said it. I'll take a different approach while I'll express myself on this COVID thing. So, because I work directly with Chief Minister office, now my Chief Minister is very used to the verbs like Facebook live, YouTube live, inaugurations online. So whatever letters which used to go across the invitations, those colorful invitations used to go to different people across the field, citizens, sarpanches, MLAs, everything is stopped. Our ministers and CMs are very, very comfortable with terms like every live, YouTube live. It's something drastically changed the overall landscape. Then another change, our director governance reforms and director IT, it's the same role. He is permanently now a member of every cabinet meeting. One of the reasons, in the last 2 years, all the cabinets have taken place online. And in one of those cabinet meetings a year back, there was an issue on the connectivity. So there was a letter issued to director governance reforms in IT that from next cabinet meeting onwards you'll sit in the cabinet meeting so that there's no disturbance on it. That's typically from a polity perspective. Then coming to the as Sunil mentioned, the adoption has improved like anything. Adoption, we were struggling for e-office implementation. We had 5,000 employees on e-office, and we have 1 lakh employees on e-office within a year and a half. That's complete transformation. I have personally not found a single physical file in everything is in e-office. And bigger changes are the whole up the value chain, up the chain hierarchy. Our secretaries, director, our chief secretary wants every file on e-office, and our CMO, because the certain CM, all officers, even the CM also is on e-office. The whole value chain, whole hierarchy is on e-office. So that's something which has only been brought up. The adoption, as Sunil said, and as Sohan said, adoption has improved a lot. Now, coming from a citizen perspective, there is consistent demand of online services now. Now, the departments which are laggard departments like tourism, now the services which I could not push for e-governance, like some of those petrol pump licenses, some of those food licenses, now there's a demand from those laggard departments, those slow departments to come online. That's what the transformation that this pandemic surely has brought in. And then, the data part. We were almost the first state, I think before the main application mobile app came in of the government of India. Our chief secretary almost invited us in February to start building a Kowa Punjab application, which we built. And now there is a constant lookout by the administration for a good data, because we have struggled during COVID times that how difficult and how challenging is it to get good data, good quality data for doing good level of analytics. So again, now the whole administration, the whole government wants to have good data and run good analytics over it, so that the data perception has changed within this. And then coming back finally, within Kowa, we first time adopting the technology called Bluetooth-based contact tracing. We actually did geofencing. It's a very interesting thing. I'm sure other states would have done it. What we did is any home quarantine person, if he's home quarantined, his GPS coordinates are mapped with the Kowa Punjab app, and any deviation, any violation of that geofencing, there's an alert which goes to a district head office through SMS, through an login based system, and that control room then manages that. A lot of FIRs were registered through this whole geofencing platform, so that again, overall demand for good technology is increasing. So the overall perception of people recognize us now in especially from the legal department. Yes, these are the IT people who handled everything in COVID times, who facilitated the infrastructure, as Sohan also said, the infrastructure part. We had those WebEx, SWAN was used to the best. Even the BDP, the block level officer, where connectivity is not that good, they're on SWAN, connected to WebEx. So again, a transformation from an infrastructure and connectivity perspective. From an employee's perspective, people never took seriously HRMS, all those productivity tools. Now nobody wants to conduct these offline meetings. I still remember last government, we actually prepared a brand new conference room for our deputy CM and CM. And we wanted to start the deputy commissioners meeting, which happens on a monthly basis on online platform, on a SWAN platform, Pavan platform. We couldn't succeed. We had one. There was some issue with one district. It all again, came back to the manual physical meetings. But now that confidence has gotten, which surely will improve the government efficiency, the administration efficiency, and obviously citizen, when they'll demand good applications, they'll demand good services. There'll be pressure on us. There's a positive pressure on us to give better applications, to give applications which actually deliver services, as the Odisha one mentioned, as Sunil ji mentioned, and the Henry ji mentioned, that the public service delivery, there's a demand that we now move online for citizens, and we resolve the grievances also online. So we came up with our grievance redressal policy, which was stuck. So we have a fantastic grievance redressal policy. You can have a look at it. That came into cabinet approval through this COVID times, because a lot of people were putting in grievances online. The resolution part was little less. So there's a pressure on the government now to resolve grievances online, and we're monitoring it from CM office perspective. So as other Head-SeMTs mentioned, there's been a paradigm shift in the way government, citizen, business, and overall administration look at IT, e-governance, and digital transformation.
Thank you, Manpreet. It was good to know, and we are glad to hear about the different initiatives like the FB Live, YouTube Live, social media, and the most important thing was like the director IT being the part of the cabinet meeting. Then you talked about the adoption of e-office within like 1.5 years, almost around 1 lakh of the officials were on the e-office thing. And as you said, during this pandemic, there was a consistent demand of e-services. So and plus the way you're looking at the good data and analytics, which can change various things. And plus the most interesting thing which I liked was the Bluetooth based tracing, the geofencing based tracing, which was also quite interesting to hear about it. And then it's like, as you said, that there was challenge prior to the COVID thing, like doing this e-meetings, if you talk about. Then but the COVID has changed various things, so everyone is like, as you can do the monthly e-meetings, as well as the grievance redressal policy, which you think which is actually very good. So with this, I would like to come to Dr. Abhishek Roy. Dr. Abhishek Roy, you there? Hello, Dr. Roy. He's on a call. We'll just wait for a second. Hello, Dr. Roy, are you there?
Yeah. My apologies. I just got a call from the CMO. Actually,
No.
Some program going on, so I had to attend that call.
Okay. No, sir, we can continue. So we were talking about.
Yeah, please carry on.
Good afternoon, sir. So we were talking about like prior to COVID, the digital transformation was going in a different, smooth flow and all. So, but when the COVID hit us, so things changed abruptly. Like the way we were working, and now what the new innovations, the kind of technology which is coming in. So, just wanted to understand like your thoughts on digital transformation that has happened during the COVID era, sir. Because I think so, your government has done has taken various initiatives in terms of the digital transformation part during this COVID pandemic, like during the last 1.5 years. So we just wanted to hear from you about this, sir.
Yeah, I would like to start from the earlier perspective also, since most of the co-panelists tried to add e-office and e-district and other things. So e-office wise, West Bengal, all districts, all departments, everyone is through e-office. Our finance department has clearly, around 2 years back, has issued instructions that no files will be accepted without e-office. So as such, we don't have any physical files except the files which goes to CMO. And e-district we have around 160 plus services, and not only services, around 1 lakh plus transactions are happening on e-district every month before pandemic. As far as pandemic is concerned, no doubt pandemic has given a lot of learnings. In fact, this last 2 years, We have worked more than a decade during the last 2 years, and the services we have delivered is as high as the last 5 6 years. It started, this COVID automatically started in the month of March last 2020, and it started with non-availability of PP kits, masks, and all other things. SEMT was roped in to help. So we developed one, this inventory management solution. So wherein we tried to cut on all those timings so that everyone is prepared, and the moment the masks are reaching or PP kits are reaching the central medical store, immediately it is segregated and dispatched to different places. The moment it reaches the hospital, they should take handover and distribute it to doctors. To cut down those timings, we started with an inventory management application. That was the beginning of the journey, and then it continued. We then came up with a quarantine app wherein we used to track all the people who have entered in our this state, so that we can track them. And the moment there is a deviation of 100 meters plus, so we used to send them an SMS, send them an outbound dialer, stating them that if they don't, if second time they again do the same thing, so they will be forced into a safe home. Police will be sent, and they will be then asked to stay in a safe home. Similarly, this continued. Then the problem of movement started. We started with e-pass, and our e-pass was on WhatsApp bot. Industry pass was also there. The best part was that even as anyone, a single person can use the e-pass. They can apply through a WhatsApp bot, and they can get the e-pass in the WhatsApp bot itself. That can be shown to any police personnel whenever they are traveling, and the police personnel also can verify it through the number by just keying in the pass number. It will clearly verify the details of the e-pass. Then came the issue of migrant laborers. So we started tracking. We need to know where our West Bengal migrant laborers are stuck so that we can help them. At that point of time, we started with two applications. One, we started an SMS based application, assuming that since they are migrant laborers, they will not come to any app or portal or any smartphone. So as a result, what happened, we gave them an SMS based application wherein they were supposed to just send few parameters. That basically from their mobile number, they're supposed to send an SMS stating that where the pin code where they are stuck, the pin code where they want to come. If they don't know the pin code, then they can write the address also. Suppose from Bangalore they want to come to Kolkata. So this, then total number of passengers, and the type of help they want. So this message was basically they were supposed to send, and it was totally automated. Based on this, we started taking action. But at the same time, we also launched a WhatsApp based application. And since it was a WhatsApp based application, we had the liberty to take all the details of all the passengers. In SMS, we were taking total number of the passengers, basically total number of laborers stuck at that point of time. So they used to write 5, 4, 3. Here we started taking name, age, and everything, including the photo ID number, since it's a WhatsApp bot. In spite of more transparency in WhatsApp bot, more data, more detailed data in WhatsApp bot, I was surprised to know that 5.5 lakh people, basically migrant laborers, opted the WhatsApp bot to contact us. Wherein in SMS, only 50,000 people were there. So based on this data, what we did, we basically then requested for the railways for the laborers, trains and all. So we used to schedule these guys. Okay, name wise, we used to give the list to the local administration and tell them, the railways, that these guys will be onboarded from these stations, and then they'll be transported back to the station. So this is the way we basically did it. Now then, we from this migrant management, we moved back to their resettlement when they came back to Kolkata. So they were supposed to, just a second, please excuse me, I'm getting one more call from CM.
So I think so. We'll come back to Dr. Abhishek Roy again. So as Dr. Abhishek Roy mentioned, and it's like almost everyone is on e-office, and plus like 1+ transaction is it's like through inventory management. Then he talked about the inventory management application. then quarantine app, e-pass on WhatsApp bot, migrant laborers, SMS based. So they did a two-way this thing, like they worked on the SMS as well as the WhatsApp thing, and it's like it was good. Glad to know that through WhatsApp, it's like the laborers were like more tech savvy, if you say, using WhatsApp,
Sorry,
and almost around 5.5 lakh laborers they
I'll,
registered through WhatsApp, and only 50,000 it's like through SMS.
no. In
So
spite of having more transparency, because here we are taking the name, photo ID number, everything. So now I'll continue if allowed, if
sure.
no other participants have roped in. So then what happened? Then the problem came that how to make them settle down in West Bengal, because again after 2 months they'll start crying that I want to go back to my workplace. So then we deployed one IVRS based system wherein a call was sent to each and every of them, and we tried to map them about their skills. So we asked them what is their skills, whether they're a mason or they are carpenter or they are some diamond polisher or anything else. So based on that, we mapped all the migrant laborers. The skills were mapped, and based on that, we tried to re-employ them, give them some work here in West Bengal, so that after 2 months, they should not start saying that I want to go back to the workplace. Then this flight and other things started. Then what happened? We started giving visa, and people from foreign or Indian people only, they wanted to come back to Kolkata. So, but there was a condition that when they'll come back to Kolkata, they'll stay in a quarantine period for a minimum 7 days at that point of time. These people, when landed to Kolkata, started behaving a different way. They started saying, no, I don't have money to stay, to be in quarantine. I'll go back to home. This again created an issue. Then what we did, then we developed one application wherein anyone applying for visa or anyone who is booking a ticket will only be allowed if they book a hotel from our system. And that we basically tied up with all the hotels. All the hotel details were given in our portal. The person was supposed to book a hotel, pay the entire amount, and that amount was kept in government account. After only showing this hotel booking, they were given the tickets, and when they're coming back, they are supposed to stay in the hotels. Only when they complete the hotel stay, then only this money was transferred to the hotels. We assume that they'll come back, they'll ask the hotel to pay back the money after deduction of some charges and all. So this way we controlled those people who returned back from this other countries. So this journey continued throughout the period. Now this year it again started with the e-pass and other things. Then the problem of vegetables and rice, paddy and other things started. The farmers started crying that we want to sell our paddy. How will I sell? So we started one more application called Khadyo Datri. One app was introduced, and this Khadyo Datri helped all our farmers to sell their rice or other rice agriculture products to us. They used to give the details in the app, and our team used to reach there at their home, collect the paddy, pay them directly on the field. So they're not supposed to come back because of lockdowns and all. Similarly, for agriculture marketing products, we again launched one more WhatsApp bot, including one app called Annadatri. So wherein all other food products for their transportation, their selling, everything was controlled there with that Annadatri app. With regard to the local the district-wise people, we started an utilities, basically small e-commerce sites, wherein in the lockdown, how the people will get this basically vegetables or any daily essential products. So we tied up with the local grocery shops. So basically in each district which we did it, so local grocery shops were asked to upload their products, and the product, it was totally district based, and they used to also specify to which all pin code area or which all GP they will be able to deliver, including the delivery charges they are supposed to upload in the system, which was open to the local people, and they have an option to book any order for any of this household grocery items, and these grocery items they will book, and automatically the delivery charges as fixed by the person, that seller, small grocery shop would be included, and then he was allowed to deliver it to the household. So basically, we tried to create small pockets of this e-commerce thing, because Amazon and Flipkart, these are not in the remote areas. So in a small village, the Amazon will never deliver that too in this pandemic. So we created that ecosystem also in the in districts. When district-based websites were created, and the small villages were asked to grocery shops in the village were asked to adapt to this. So this way it continued there. This year, of course, vaccine is a big problem. Again, in vaccine, people, there are two cases. One is co-win portal registration, and the co-win portal is not as easy as we can do it. For the common public, is very difficult. And then vaccine availability also is a question mark. So this year, what happened? We basically, because of co-win portals and accessibility, sometimes it's down, sometimes OTP is not coming. All this. So state started with the token system, wherein people will walk in and take a token and then come again tomorrow to take the vaccine, which is very rudimentary. It was a very bad system. Social distancing and everything was getting compromised. So then we came up with this WhatsApp bot for vaccination, which is a real big hit. And in this WhatsApp bot, within 10 minutes, within 1 minute maximum, people are able to book the vaccination slots. And within only 3 weeks, 1 crore plus transactions happened to this bot. This is WhatsApp data. And it is basically, it was started for our Kolkata municipal area only, with only 3 centers. Actually, no one was willing to allow. When I gave this proposal, everyone was very worried that people don't have mobile and all these things. So we started with 3 centers, and then in Kolkata only it was extended to 100 plus centers. And after that, it has now been extended across the state. The feedback alone came to the HCM madam, and HCM madam then told the health MOS to launch it for the entire state. And now all the districts are onboarded, and all the entire vaccination program is running through this bot.
Sure.
This is the journey, and we are continuing with trying to get more and more these applications to help the people.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Roy. So basically, when you talked about the quarantine, this thing, so I am one of your live examples sitting here. So last year, actually in June, when I went back home, Darjeeling, so I had to quarantine myself for a week in a hotel and a week at my home. And after every 2 days, 3 days, I used to get a call from the government that whether your health is okay or not, whether you're facing any problem or not. So it's like, as I said, Mr. Roy, that it's like there's a live example sitting here from your state. So, and plus it's like the WhatsApp bot, which you talked about with regards to the vaccination. I think so. It's also quite hit because I keep on interacting with the people back at home, and most of my family members have registered through WhatsApp bot and got the vaccination. So thank you for that. So now coming to my next question. So next question, I would like to talk about how public service delivery is monitored in your state, basically in terms of performance monitoring of governance schemes and priority schemes. So I'd like to start with Mr. Sunil Kalra. So Sunilji, if you can talk about how public service delivery is monitored in your state and how the performance monitoring happens.
Most of the services are classified, and that will be true for all other states as well. It's called RTPS, Right to Serve Public Service Act. There is an act in Bihar, and I'm sure there is a similar act in other states as well. So within this act, this is defined that a particular service needs to be delivered within a particular number of days. And in case it is not delivered or it is not given, then there are certain grievance redressal, and there is a provision also in the act that if a person does not deliver in time and is sitting on a file or something, or probably is not disbursing any amount or whatever, a certificate or something, then that adhikari's salary will be cut. So it is all written in this within the act. So once those kind of acts are there, then it's quite easy. And yes, again, if these things are done manually, then obviously there is a lot of manipulation and things. But once we start delivering these kinds of things or services through a proper IT-based system, then the day he has given the application and the day he is finally got the service, that is a certificate delivered to him or not, or final transaction has taken, it's everything is logged and recorded within the system. So this is probably the easiest way any IT system works to track anything, and you get the number of days, number of elapsed time, and everything. Uh, that is how it's been done in here in Bihar.
So I think so. Something almost like Manpreet, if you can talk about this, I think so. Some great initiatives have been done in your state on this front. So if you can just almost like let us know about what exactly is happening in Punjab. You're mute, Manpreet.
As Sunilji mentioned, there are statutory, acts in place. Like we have a Punjab Transparency in Public Services Act, under which the timelines of a specific service are mentioned, and their penalties if service is not delivered in time. The main core last year was our public service delivery monitoring was the finalist in the Prime Minister Award for Public Administration. So that is one of the unique thing which happens to any state in case that award is given. We were finalists the way we monitor our public service delivery. So I had that cell in Chief Minister office, which is called the monitoring cell. We monitor around 400 public services under this act, and the pendency of services beyond timelines has been 0.5% in the last 3 years. In the morning, Monday morning, Principal Secretary to CM, whom I report to in CM office, he'll send a pendency report, a district-wise ranking. We have a complete framework for public service delivery monitoring. A district-level monitoring happens. A report is auto-generated to our eSeva portal. And Monday morning, almost all DCs, they kind of review it at least 2 to 3 times a week, the pendency part. So the phenomenal thing is 0.5% pendency in the last 3 years. So almost 1 crore citizens have taken service from our Seva Kendras or online service delivery, and only very minuscule 0.5% would have delays in the public service delivery. So that's how we monitor it through our cell. We integrate all the applications, be it of transport department, revenue department, or their common applications. We integrate all those applications, bring pendency at one head, and then thrash it around district level ranking. We do a department level ranking. So that name and shame is actually helping our state and actually reducing those public service delivery. And combined with, as Sunil said, combined with the statutory act. Now, another good thing we're doing is an auto escalation in our all systems. Whatever service delivery systems we have, in case 15-day or 20-day time we have stipulated in our statutory provisions. In case service is not delivered, an auto escalation to the next level will happen. It will move to the next level, and then the further detailed drilling down of monitoring and naming shaming will happen, which actually is pushing. So getting closer to that Prime Minister Award for a public service delivery has been one of our biggest achievements in last 2 years. So we have a cell under me. We have 4 people, coordination with departments, producing those data analytics, producing those reports. I can today tell which district is a laggard in a birth certificate delivery. That's how the officer level naming shaming happens. I can tell today to my Chief Minister office that which superintendent, which clerk has kept maximum number of days in last 1 year in terms of service delivery. So that's the kind of drilling down happens at Chief Minister office level, and then the drilling down to DC and then to service delivery level. So there is a sense of urgency when it comes to delivery of services within field officials, deputy commissioner level, secretary's office. So that culture we have been able to develop in the last 1 year in Punjab. That's what from Punjab side.
Thanks, Manpreet, and really, it's quite interesting about how you have done and the award which you have recently got. So I'd like to come to Mr. Henry. So Henry, if you can tell us about how the public service delivery is monitored in your state, and what's the performance monitoring? Is there any is there any scale? Is there any something? It's like how it's basically monitored. We just wanted to understand that. You're mute, Henry.
Each department has its own process about monitoring the services, but electronically, there is one system called RAS that's developed by the central ministry only, where it's called the Rapid Assessment Systems. So this is an API. So technically, what it happened is when you give a service to the citizen online electronically, they have given a link to that, and they can again give a feedback from the citizen itself. So like each department has its own process, which is mandatory for as a government. But in order to, because of this pandemic, we have started using the RAS, where immediately after the service has been taken from the government, there will be some feedback which has come from the availer itself. We have integrated with the e-office service, the e-district services. But what happened is till now, the development of applications for the various department is decentralized. So most of the time, we are not aware about how many applications are there. It's scattered around. It may be happening for other state also, may not be happening. So what happened now is that this is not becoming effective, because even the central government has mandated that every online services that you provide to the citizen needs to be integrated with the RAS. Most probably, some people have started or may not have started about it. So what we realize is that another mechanism that we are planning to do using the AI-based CM dashboard is that we are trying to create a repository of all the KPIs and the services provided by each of the department. So the responsibility of feeding it, the central repository, it belongs to the department nodal wise. And finally, the one dashboard will display on that. We have already formalized that one, which is yet to be deployed. There itself, it will tell you the deviation about that. That's it. For example, we said we are going to deliver the birth certificate in 2 days, but any deviation, we are going to have the count at the CM level, and finally at the department level, you can drill down that why it is happening at the back end. So this is the two things that we are doing in terms of doing the digitization or digital transformation in monitoring the public services by the governments to the citizens.
Thank you, Henry. Mr. Sohan, if you can highlight what your state is doing in regards to this monitoring part.
Yeah. So actually, as Henry told, a similar platform we have created, that is state dashboard, which covers and closely monitor the grievance and the different services provided by the different department. So that gives can drill down to the district level as well. And apart from that, we have a more Sarkar, that our government. What exactly happens over here is that basically the senior officers will take the feedback of different services provided by the department, and accordingly it will be updated, so that they will understand. It will be whether they will ask different questions to them, that whether they are happy with the services. So that's one of the key thing. That is a different thing which we in state we have. And apart from that, department-wise, they have the grievance report as well. No, they update. So these are the three things as part of the state for the
Thank you,
public
Sanjay.
service.
Thank you. Dr. Abhishek Roy. So I wanted to understand how the public service delivery is monitored in your state.
As I started that in our e-district platform, we have more than 150 services, and we around 1 lakh plus transactions are happening almost a week. So it's a very successful platform. Over and above CSC, we have opened our BSK, Bangla Sahayata Kendra. So this Bangla Sahayata Kendra, we are giving all the services free. In CSC, if you go and fill up a form or take a print or anything, so you'll be charged. BSKs, there's no charge at all. It's fully funded by government, and this BSK employees are paid by state government. Apart from these two, we have one application for RTPS. So West Bengal WP RTPS Act. There is an application wherein anyone, after receiving the form 1A, so it means when you are submitting a form, you'll receive a form 1A. So they can lodge any grievance regarding these things, which has a 3-tier this level, wherein when it is not resolved, as a Consumer Affairs Secretary is the RTPS nodal of the state, then he will create a hearing to sort out the issues. So these three are the basic things. Apart from that, we have our this basically specialized lines wherein any people can call. They can talk to the CM, they can talk to the mayor, they can talk to the commissioner. So there are special plans, talk to mayor, talk to CM, and every day, once in a week, people can call and then put on their grievances. Apart from the over and above the grievance management portal we have, and there's a meet your commissioner, meet your DM. These systems are also there, but due to pandemic, we've started this meeting on Zoom. So on Zoom, these people are coming, and based on their entry, they are standing in a queue, and then they're talking to the commissioner. And for any complaint raised in these meetings, talk to mayor and talk to commissioner, are tracked, and an ATR is required to be submitted by the concerned officials, what action they have taken, and accordingly we revert back to these people. So these are the small things which we are trying to capture and give the services. Over and above, last year we launched on Duwade Sarkar. So Duwade Sarkar is a scheme where the government is going at the doorstep of the people. So basically, in each and every area, government is announcing a date. Okay, in this area today, our team will go, and entire department where it can be a caste certificate, it can be a birth certificate, it can be anything. For that, you can apply there itself. No need to come to government office. No need to go to any BSK or CSK. So the Duwade Sarkar scheme has become a big success, and most of the people have enrolled. Almost, I can say that 50% plus people have opted for Duwade Sarkar and got themselves involved in any or any other schemes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Roy. So as we are just it's like running late, so my last question, and I would like to everyone to just take 2 minutes on it. The question is on the topic of the panel discussion, which is how SEMT is accelerating digital transformation in the state. So I would like to start with Mr. Sunil Kalra. So 2 minutes each, and then we'll wrap up.
Okay, that's a very easy one. Obviously, everyone knows that as a technical team, there are hardly any states which have a technical cadre in their state from the government side. So it is the SEMTs who have actually set up the complete infrastructure, or you can say the architecture of how it should be done. Obviously, I would not like to blame or put blame to any other organization, but somewhere, somehow, NIC was lacking somewhere. So that is the reason the SEMT the thing came into picture in the whole country. So from driving from concept levels, in a typical e-governance project, there is first phase is you make a concept, and then you have DPR, then you have RFP, then bid management, implementation, and then the normal project management process. So yes, the SEMTs are very much involved from the concept level itself, and then taking it. If you remember, when I started giving my introduction, I said I have been through 2 phases of e-governance.
Yes.
So I'm connecting it back to what I said earlier. We have been involved in the concept twice, we can say, and we know what is in which direction we are taking the state.
Manpreet, your two.
Yeah, so I'm the oldest one in SEMT, seeing 10 years almost with SEMT. The learning has obviously been tremendous. And we had 3-4 people in our Department of IT when we joined. We stressed upon, as Abhishek ji said and others said, we stressed upon on creation of basic common infrastructure, front-end delivery channels. We have one of the most successful PPP model of running a front-end delivery channel. We earn a lot of money through our PPP channels. So we contributed in creation of basic infrastructure, the core infrastructure, public service delivery. So first 5 years in SEMT has been wherein people looked at us creating value for the state. We actually created value on ground where nothing was there. In last 5 years, we have been supported by the state government by providing us resources. There are resources. Now, any consulting company joins on any project, they are aligned with us, typically with the SEMT team, with any department for overall guidance on DPR, RFP, or BPR. And then, on the technology front, we are asked from a basic, specifications to, as Sunil ji said, to AI, ML adoption, and to anything advancing technology. So when it comes to technology, BPR, RFP, SEMT teams are synonymous, I believe, in Punjab and obviously other states also. We are synonymous with the whole eGov life cycle, that anything which comes on e-governance, we are the people who become first point of contact. And specifically, personally for me, taken up by Chief Secretary Office for 3 years and then Chief Minister Office directly working with CM Office, that shows the kind of value we have created in public service delivery, understanding public policy, understanding technology. So everybody wants a pie of us, at least the senior people sitting here, every senior bureaucrat, administrator, be it, ministers also at times, they seek that head SEMT or senior most person of SEMT should be part of our meetings so that they can guide us better. They can maintain those eGov standards. They are the people who are from MIT, who actually maintain those standard RFPs or standards of technology adoption. So we have become synonymous with e-governance implementation across the state. That's my word.
Thank you, Manpreet. Henry, over to you. How is SEMT accelerating e-governance?
This is a very interesting cue. Any services, whether it's a private or public, it's all about people, process, and technology. And people is the citizens, it's all taken care, process, the bureaucrat has its own. Technology is a challenge. Earlier, technology is a very minical when we started around 2000. The technology understanding is not just about understanding some concept, because like I just want to highlight one example recently, hyperconverged infrastructure. It's a huge project. Without understanding, it's very difficult. Then I'll just give you one box and then this is hyperconverged, you implement it. But so the technology is like a doctor, which is like an MD, not an MBBS. You need to go through various processes. I need to understand infrastructures. I need to understand storage, compute, and then the performance. Everything has to come in. Like the government is slow to provide a service. That's what we talk about. What is the slowness now is that when I go to a service like e-district, if a user click a service to avail a service, if it doesn't comes in 1 minute, that's the performance for me. And the second the process comes in. So now, if I don't understand the technology, I cannot just scale it out. Then you say you buy one server, and it's a chaos. So now, people realize that, and I have 20 years of experience, which has come through all this of buying computer, then network, storage, managing people. So now, when you talk to them, we confidently talk to the vendors. Say government outsources to the vendor, but then they say, oh, I want a network. What kind of speed you want? I'll just give you one module, which is we outdated for 10 years with the same price of current prices. So now we come to the technology, we come to the implementation, we come to the design, and DPR is become it's essential, but it become very normal because we need to look whether the vendor has delivered what it has promised to the government, because the process is taken care by the bureaucrat because they know wealth more than us. But we try to digitize in such a way that its process has been aligned to the technology. But the best thing which the SEMT, which I feel from my experience, is that the kind of confidence they have it when they go for a vendor meeting, when they discuss with me that I'm presenting SEMT, the kind of confidence they give. You talk to Henry or you talk to SEMT, that kind of comfort that we give to the government is what I think that very, very SMT provide. That's a confidence that when you're buying something and you're paying so much, and then you said, oh, it's really worth to get it, and there's someone who can verify then is it really worth. So I'm always there whenever we buy something from the vendor, and then when they give back, when the project get completed, also most of the time. The defining the case study and all, and then defining the FAT. So we are always there technically involved in that.
Thank you, Henry. Coming to Mr. Sohan, if you can.
Yeah, I'll just quickly tell. So we provide a technical solution across 48, more than 40 department, and they bang on us for any technical solution. And whenever they want, then we provide the process of how exactly, if they want to have any project initially we prepare a deep concept note and then DPR and give the estimate and so on and so forth. So what exactly I would like to highlight here is that they they have confident on the SeMT team, the type of technology which is provided, and the how and we are. It's good that at central level also we have regular conferences or workshop on different technology. So we and while delivering also we ensure that some of the technologies are leveraged, which is at central level, like DigiLocker or Umang and all. So that's how no. So we don't try to reinvent the wheel, but provide technical solution, and which with the guidance of our secretary as well. That's
Thank you, Mr. Sohan. Dr. Abhishek Roy, we would like to know from you.
Yeah. The question was very easy to my dear friend Mr. Kalra, but the journey was very tough. I remember when I started office in West Bengal long back in 2010 end, there were only 3 chairs and 4 SeMT members. Can you imagine? It was so tough, and actually when I joined, the other 3 people have already joined, and there was no infrastructure at all. And now we have turned down, and it has become a synonymous. Every department, all bureaucrats, in fact, all IS officers know me by name. It's a long journey, just because we have performed. And I'm thankful to basically the Planning Commission, which envisages this SeMT team. And if you go through the initial days of this formation of SeMT, which the new counterparts may not be aware, in the formation it is clearly written that SeMT is the technical secretariat of the state government, and we are supposed to basically advise the Apex level committee and Apex level council, which is headed by SCM and the Chief Secretary, sir. So basically we are supposed to work under the instructions of Chief Secretary, sir. And there's one more thing is written, that on the direction of SEM Chief Secretary, it may be assigned to any department, preferably IT department. So this is the way it is formed, and the reason being all our vendors, because when you start talking with the vendors initially, they think you are government and you are fool. Maybe after 10 years now, Mr. Henry is getting a good discussion with the vendors. That's a separate thing. But the moment any new vendor is coming to meet you, they think the government is there. They are fool about technology. They don't know anything. When we start grilling them, then everything started coming, and then we think we say that this is packaging and nothing is being actually delivered. So this is the way. The journey was very difficult. We had proved our point. That's why we are there in all the departments, and we are trying to. One more problem is that whenever because in our SeMT, this formation document is clearly written that we are not supposed to take any development, because we are a very small team. So we are basically in the advisory and consulting road. We are supposed to envisage, conceptualize, make the DPR, RFP, and then deliver. But the problem which you face is that whenever you conceptualize a new thing, this WhatsApp bot, or I started with this voice-based e-prescription, and if you go in RFP mode, 2 things will happen. By the time RFP will materialize, the entire government machinery will change, and your project is going to fail 100%. And over and above that, if you get a vendor, that vendor will start bargaining you, tweaking you, and then they will kill the entire project. This is not in the scope, because in innovative projects, you cannot document each and everything. So they'll kill the project. So that's why what we started, initially I started hiring 2, 3, 4 contractual developers under me. And there was a background also, because sometimes HCM says that I need this application in 2 days. I need this. During the case of an Apollo, you must be knowing, in West Bengal, when there was a death in Apollo, and Apollo's license was supposed to be cancelled. Then HCM told, within 6 days, I need a clinical establishment regulatory application to be live. And whenever he goes to any other country, he says, tomorrow I'm going to Germany, I need entire application or a web portal or something like this within a day. So our IT secretaries used to bang on SeMT. Initially, they used to call TCS, HP, all big vendors. They'll say no. They used to look on us, and we used to get them those delivery done. So based on these deliveries, I was leveraged to get a team of developers under me. So whenever I conceptualize anything, instead of going in RFP mode, I try to do a prototype in a small district or a small area, and the pilot is then it is scaled up to the entire state. The way this vaccine bought, it was started in Kolkata. It was done by in-house by us, and now it has been scaled down. So this is the way we try to prove our point. And then now this long journey has become the NIC is not the only cause. The cause is that this doctor example which Mr. Henry gave. So other, I'm not going to name anyone. The vendors basically is the consulting vendors, basically the advisory vendors basically used to basically prescribe only those medicines for which they have got some commission from the pharmaceutical vendors. So this is the way the consulting was before SEMT roped into government. I remember PwC prescribing one IT portal at a cost of 34 crore rupees. I don't know what will be in the IT portal, because they have prescribed many such this application licenses, these, that, all these things. So this is basically a type, we are going to a doctor wherein the doctor will prescribe the same paracetamol which is costing at 50 rupees, whereas the generic paracetamol is available at 1 rupees. So that was the scenario before SEMT, and post within this last 10 years journey, we are trying to change it. There's a long way to go still ahead, but we have proved our point, and that's why everyone, all the departments used to first call SEMT. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. And it was actually an honor having you all here and listening to various states. Actually, it's like almost 5-6 different states talking about their initiatives, their innovations, their role, and how the government has functioned during this COVID period. So the objective of this whole day conclave was to brainstorm about on the ideas and technology. And I hope we would have just like we could have learned from each other, which we could adopt or further improve our work. I would like to express my sincere gratitude to the panelists for sharing the expertise with us. This conference could not have been possible without the guidance of Shri Manoj Mishra, sir, who is the Secretary Electronics IT Department of Odisha and our host partner of the conclave. Then we put on an exceptional event with over 40 plus government dignitaries and industry experts with 7 sessions throughout the day. And the event was graced by the Honorable IT Minister of Odisha, Shri Tusharkanti Behera ji. So where he discussed about the digital transformation initiatives in the state of Odisha, including the establishment of Odisha One, a one-stop platform for citizens to access all government services, and 5T Charter of Good Governance led by Honorable Chief Minister of Odisha, Shri Naveen Patnaik ji. Throughout the day, we discussed how to build the infrastructure for digital transformation, reimagining government service deliveries, effective governance through emerging technologies, and leveraging digital transformation initiatives through technology-based solutions. We also had an interactive session about the importance of artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, cloud and security, and future of digital transformation. I would also like to thank to our partners, the IoT partner, Tata Communication, cybersecurity partner, Fortinet, data partner, Enterprise DB, supporting partners, NIC and Punjabi Chamber of Commerce, and our GovConnect and iLog Media team for organizing this conclave. Finally, on behalf of GovConnect, I would like to express my appreciation to all the participants for taking time out of your busy schedule to attend the conclave, and to all the organizations for sending excellent participants to the seminar. Thank you, everyone. Stay safe, stay healthy. Thank you. And thank you, Dr. Abhishek Roy. Thank you, Sunil ji. Thank you, Sohan ji. Thank you, Mr. Henry. Thank you, Manpreet, for being part of this conclave. And thank you. I'd like to especially thank Raman Mishra, who is my government alliance person. So Raman, it was Raman Mishra who had brought all of you on this great panel. Fran for doing some great back-end support and doing the marketing for this conclave. Rashid, another colleague of mine who's supporting us. So it was actually a very good team effort. I would like to thank everyone and every panelist. Thank you all, and I look forward to having you all in our next event. So the next event which we are having is on 9th of July, which is National Smart, Sustainable and Safe Cities Conclave. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for bringing few SMTs together. Thank you.
Yep.
That is good. Good one. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a good one. Okay, thank you.